to realize that technology requires a system of trust. Is it possible for us to develop such trust between human beings and machine in our physical world? And what will be the consequences if something goes wrong? I'd like to invite PhD researcher in Blavatnik Interdisciplinary Cyber Research Center at Tel Aviv University, and also research fellow at Brown University's Humanity-Centered Robotic Initiative, author of 2 best-selling books about the future, Dr. Roee Zana, to introduce the subject. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Roee Zana. Roee, you have changed since the last time we met.
Yeah, I went through a really harsh diet.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. So, good morning, everyone. So, I say good morning since I'm now in California time, which means it's 4 a.m. Right now here. But let's make the most of it. So, nice to meet you all. I want to talk with you about algorithms. I want to talk with you about digital trust and how we can ensure it in an age of algorithms. Because algorithms are all around us today. We live in a world of algorithms. Algorithms decide whether or not you're going to get a loan from the bank, or you're going to be expelled with shame out of the building. Algorithms define what's going to happen in the stock market, and they contribute to the fluidity of the stock market and to the pocket, of course, of the companies that make use of them. Algorithms can recommend for you the right product at any time and decide whether or not it's the right one for you. Algorithms can also recommend for us our friends on Facebook, or the people that they think we will want to have as our friends. Algorithms can define the prices for each and every item on Amazon and define it for the user, for the potential consumer. Algorithms can also confine us. They limit our interaction with each other. They can define how many characters we can use when talking with other people. They can define which words we are allowed to use on Facebook and other social media, and which words we will automatically get banned as soon as we use them online, even when talking with our friends in private chats. They can even autocorrect some of the words that we use. Not always successfully, not always with good tact, but they make an attempt. They try. You have to respect them for that. Algorithms can even correct you to ensure that you are that you're using gender-neutral language, that you are as sensitive as you should be. If you use a word, you already know that it autocorrects you, or at least provides some suggestions as well. And even allow us to swipe right or to swipe left, right for love, left for ignore, but not up or down or diagonal. They open possibilities for us, but they also limit us and confine us. Now, what exactly are algorithms? Well, I went to The Economist and they had a very nice explanation there. They said that an algorithm is essentially a brainless way of doing clever things. It's a set of precise steps that need no great mental effort to follow, but if obeyed exactly and mechanically, will lead to some desirable outcome. And The Economist published this explanation in 2017, but that's not right anymore, since this definition refers to algorithms that are based that lead to rule-based systems. And today we have the new paradigm of computing and AI. We have artificial neural networks and deep learning replacing rule-based algorithms. And the idea behind the artificial neural networks is that the algorithms learn. They are trained on massive amounts of information, massive volumes of data, and they learn. They produce insights. And as a result of artificial neural networks, we now have algorithms that are more efficient than human beings at identifying human faces. at understanding human conversation and deciphering it. Suddenly, we have AI that can identify and recognize numbers on the street view, Google Street View challenge. Suddenly, we have AI that can beat even the top human players at Go, something that was considered just science fiction 10 years ago. Suddenly, we have AI that can produce new information and new knowledge of its own. We can even produce images. For example, by being trained on thousands of pictures of burgers, you can see what they can create. They can create new pictures of burgers. Very useful, obviously. But you can also see the dramatic improvement in just a few years. In 2016, this is what an AI thought, Google's AI, thought a burger would look like. In 2018, this is the picture of the burger that is produced. So you see the rapid advancement and improvement. And AI can even create things that were considered only only human things. For example, music, like this music. Yeah, produced by an AI composer, and if you don't like it, don't worry. You can click a button, tell it what you like. Within a few minutes, it will deliver 50 more compositions straight to your mailbox. And we're already starting to see how these algorithms are beginning to be used in some places. Not only on the internet, not only in front of the screen, in front of the computer, but also in what we would call real life, in the physical world. We're seeing them being implemented in China, where algorithms are being implemented everywhere throughout the government and the surveillance systems. So China currently has what is probably the best facial recognition algorithm to exist, possibly only with competition with Facebook. So it can identify people out of a crowd of 60,000 people and identify them with great success.
We are seeing a man who was wanted by police.
Yeah, algorithms can also start playing without me meaning to. We're seeing those facial recognition algorithms being implemented in what is basically a carry-on computer on a headset that Chinese policemen can carry anywhere. We're seeing them even being implemented in order to shame people autonomously. So that in some cities in China, if you're crossing the street in a red light, your picture is automatically being taken. Automatically, the algorithm searches for you on social networks, finds out your name, and publishes all the information on digital signs, so that you won't do that kind of thing ever again. Your mother is going to call you immediately and tell you that that's not the way she raised her son. And we're seeing algorithms such as the Jiangwei Weishe, which are being installed on some smartphones in China. They have to be installed, according to the government. And once they are installed, they look after your smartphone. And if they find pictures that should not be there, they delete them automatically. If they find words and messages that shouldn't be there, that do not fit the Chinese ideology, those are being deleted as well. So algorithms galore, even being used to determine how patriotic you are and what your social credit rating should be, and change your credit rating immediately, so your social credit rating of every Chinese. And some people trust algorithms completely, without any suspicion and without any qualms. And as I said, right now I'm talking with you from California, and just yesterday, my Uber driver picked up people using Uber Pool. And Uber Pool automatically coordinates between two people who want to reach pretty much the same destination. So that the driver can pick one of them and almost immediately pick another one on his way to the final destination. And the driver picked me up first, and I watched him as he drove through the city, and I realized he has no idea where he's actually driving. The algorithm did not tell him where he should actually get to. It just told him where to turn at every corner and every intersection. And the driver actually told me that the algorithm does not tell him where he should go to. The algorithm does not tell him the final destination. So and still, the driver is happy. He obeys the algorithm without knowing the final goal, the final destination. So, who gave the algorithms? Who gave all those algorithms the permission to impact our lives like that? Well, we did. And for a very good reason. We're now living in a world of abundance, an abundance in data and information. And in a world of abundance, you must have filters to limit all this information, to minimize it, to reduce it into insights and into knowledge, into data that you can actually use. If I had to be exposed to everything that my friends are writing on Facebook, I wouldn't have had 1 minute of rest. So we must have filters to filter the information. The question is, how do we control those filters? How do we gain power to use them successfully? How can we trust them to do for us what we would have done for ourselves? There are many risks here, and I'll go really quickly about a few of them. There are the risks of buggy systems, of having algorithms with bugs, and we can see what happened to the Knight Capital company that controlled about 17% of the entire volume of commerce on the New York stock market. And one bug caused the algorithm to purchase stocks in 45 minutes that were worth $7 billion. And it just continued to pay more and more for the new stocks that it purchased. So this bug cost the Knight Capital company $440 million. We see machines that even if they are not bugged on their own, once they start working with other machines and learning from other machines and adapting themselves to other machines, we see them go completely out of whack. For example, Amazon, in Amazon, two algorithms playing against each other raised the price of one book, The Making of a Fly, to eventually $24 million, plus $3.99 for delivery. And I briefed through the book. It wasn't that good, but the algorithms just, again, went out of whack. We see algorithms who talking with each other, as in the case of Facebook, and inventing a language of their own. They're not going to take over the world, but they did learn a way to behave that is completely different than what the programmers expected. We see algorithms that don't learn from each other, but learn from the worst source possible, from mankind, or even worse than that, from the average netizen. So we see Microsoft's TAI, teenage AI, that learned from people how to talk with other people, and after 24 hours already started proclaiming that Hitler did nothing wrong. So it learned from people. And we see the inherent bias that algorithms are always programmed by people, and they automatically learn from the inherent biases that we have. And we don't teach them to distinguish between nuances that would have mattered to certain minorities and basically to anyone who does not belong to the same clique of the programmers. So we must always consider who is programming the algorithms, who is doing the final programming, who is maintaining them, who is implementing those biases, whose biases are in those algorithms. And this is especially important for our future, because very soon we're going to be surrounded not only by algorithms, but by such robots as well. Autonomous cars will surround us and will determine who is going to die and who is going to survive in a case of an accident. And an autonomous taxi will choose who to pick up and who not to pick up. Your Amazon door lock, will lock you in your own house if Amazon doesn't like you very much. So all of these developments are giving a lot of power to the companies that control those algorithms, that shape those algorithms. And people know that. People are not stupid. Well, most people are not stupid. They are not ignorant. They read the newspapers. They understand where the power goes. They understand that power is so vast, cannot but be used for those who are operating it, for those who are implementing it. So people no longer trust companies as much as they would like to. They don't trust the new digital world. And especially they don't trust this new digital world where the winner takes all. Because in this new digital world, Google is 10 times larger than its competitors. In this new digital world, Facebook controls 77% of cellular social network surfing. Uber is 10 times larger than the competitor, Lyft. Airbnb has no competitors. In this winner takes all world, as soon as one company gains a control over a niche, its algorithms dominate this niche. So we shouldn't be surprised that people don't trust those algorithms anymore, that people don't trust Facebook anymore, they don't trust Google anymore. It's just the way things are. We don't trust entities that have so much power. So people don't trust Facebook, for example, as much. And there is no real competition for Facebook. And so people are starting to do the one thing that they can. They stop using Facebook. And this is the one thing that consumers, even in a world of one winner takes all, this is the one thing that they can do. They can change their consuming habits. They can decide. They can vote with their legs and with their purses and not use Facebook and try as much as they can not use other algorithms as well. It's not easy, but it turns out they can do it. So you are part of a company that is providing people knowledge and services based on data. You need to understand that the customers don't trust as easily as they have before. They want to know that they want to trust, but they want to know that there is someone to trust. They want the algorithms companies use to be more transparent. They want it to be regulated, not maybe by the government, by the public, by some kind of mediators. Now, one last word. This is not just about companies, and I'm almost finished. It's not just about companies. And it's a tiny story. Just a few years ago, I asked one of the top advisors of Barack Obama, how can they justify the cynical use of algorithms and the data science that they are doing in order to fit the political messages to every potential voter. And the advisor said in those words, basically, well, everybody is using those algorithms to sell you products. And that's right. Everybody's using those algorithms to sell us toasters and services. But here, they're trying to use those algorithms to sell you a president. And when people understand that algorithms that are smarter than they are trying to sell them things, from a toaster to a president, they stop having trust in the system. They lose trust in their own abilities to receive, to make decisions. And they go according to their gut feelings, according to the primitive emotions of xenophobia, of fear, of doubt. And the result, the decline of democratic culture, you can see in more than one country around the world. So, I want to finish here saying that we need to restore digital trust. It is vital not only for the economy, not only for the industry, but for our society as well. And if you want digital trust, if you want your consumers and users to trust you, start by actually giving people the reason to trust you. Start by being as transparent as possible. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Itzazana. You're being applauded. Thank you very much. Stay right where you are, because I'm going to join you to the panel. So you are staying with us. TSA's Chief Information Officer and Assistant Administrator for the Office of Information Technology USA, Mr. Russell Roberts. Please join us. Chief Scientist at the Ministry of Economy and Industry and Chairman of the Israel Innovation Authority, Dr. Ami Appelbaum. Head of the iStar Systems Directorate at Rafael Advanced Defense Systems Ltd, Israel, former Brigadier General Ariel Caro. Good afternoon to everyone. Good morning to you, robots. Dr. Itzazana, you're with us. 2 technical comments. We try not to cut you when you comment, because it's hard for you to listen when you're talking. I'm talking to Dr. Itzazana, and also bear in mind that it's 4 a.m. at Rhode Island, so we'll try to have you being keen and interested, so we'll try to keep you awake. Okay, we'll start with how AI, artificial intelligence, is deployed or being developed in each of the fields that this honorable panel is representing. And I'll start with my guest abroad. If you don't mind, I'll switch to first name basis. Russ. TSA is already implementing AI technology or developing AI technologies in an attempt to secure passengers and cargo throughout the U.S.?
So we began a pilot that we started when I started to think about AI and how it could help us find dangerous items in the cargo and passenger screening. So we've seen some things back in the Defense Department when I was back there that was very useful. So one of the challenges we have, when we all go through security, when you look down, those bags, when you start to have numerous things sitting on top of each other, it's a very cluttered look. So it's a very challenging for our transportation screening officers to identify threats, prohibitive items, explosives in those bags. So AI is very, very good at learning what certain things look like. Maybe it's a detonator, maybe it's certain prohibitive items, knife, a gun, or components of a gun. The thing that a machine can do better than any human can do is if it's seen 4,000 of the same laptops come through, it would recognize the one laptop that has a battery that doesn't look like the other ones. So that may be something that a human needs to put some hands on, take a look to see if there's any trace detection of any type of explosives on there. So AI is very good for that. It continues to learn that a human can't do. So we're in the piloting phase right now. We've got a couple of institutions of higher learning that are working with some of the equipment that we have out in the field and trying to identify that thing. The goal for us is efficiency, but most of all, effectiveness, right? The number of passengers continue to go up. Our budgets don't go up, so we have the same number or less number of officers to secure that stuff. So AI is really the future, I think, to help us identify things that could be a threat on there. So we're looking very closely at that and how we can use it.
It's still not implemented yet.
No, we're not implementing, but we've been testing it for a couple of years. It's very good at certain things. We definitely see a path to using it, yes.
Ami, as a chief scientist of Israel, you're probably being approached by many developers to try to get your support for new developments, AI developments? Is it mainly in the for commercial use in terms of security?
The answer is yes, but to elaborate a bit, for those of you in the audience who are not familiar with the Israeli Innovation Authority and the chief scientist position that I'm playing now in the past year, the Israel Innovation Authority, it's a bridge between the public budget and the private sector, or the public sector and the private sector. We are the bridge where we take public money and we provide it to the private sector for research and development only, and only in the commercial arena. As you know, Israel, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending how you look at that, have to invest a lot of money in the defense industry, which my colleague here will talk about more than I do. But we in the Israel Innovation Authority investing in the commercial arena only. That said, every aspect of our life today is being used by artificial intelligence. There is no area that artificial intelligence is not being used today. And Professor Zuzana just mentioned some of the trading, and it's on many, many areas, from milking the cow to driving autonomous car to do some medical analysis. That said, we got to look what Israel can add to that. If you look on the budget that other countries putting into the artificial intelligence today, it's in the billions of dollars. Can Israel even put 10% of that? Probably not. So how can we make the edge? How can we stay, I would say, significant in that game? That's our challenge here in Israel. We want the added value, the differentiated, what we called out-of-the-box thinking on artificial intelligence for the tikkun olam and for well-being of humankind that we can do not only in Israel, but worldwide.
Let's talk about the developments that you're interested in. You're looking for new technologies, AI technologies. Give us a little bit of what you see.
What we see is a decision that can be made faster and I would say more data-driven, not emotion and not feeling, but really a data-driven, a machine that can take huge amount of data, preferably globally, let's say in the medical arena, where you can take the clinical data that have in the all Israeli service or medical providers, but not only them. You can go online and take it worldwide. And how do you crunch it? Build the algorithm that was talked here to identify the different diseases and then the different success rate on what the different procedure gave you, and then make decision based on all the history, not only prediction, but on the history. So we look backward, we look where we are, we look forward, and it's on all area of life.
I needed an example also in the security field, just to have a feel of what you see in the security, like infrastructures or...
in the security, we see a lot on the, I would call it the internet security. And internet now surrounding us everywhere. And exactly as Dr. Zuzana said here, we, at the point, maybe will not trust the internet. But think about it, even if we drive our car today, there are hackers. If we carry any disk on key or any USB in the car or any iPhone, he can penetrate into the car and drive it to the wall. So that system got to be defended. That system got to be protected, because if we will not close the gap between the hacker and the cyber on all aspects, primarily where there is life and death, like the autonomous car, then we cannot benefit from all those value that the algorithm and the artificial can provide. So that gap need to be closed, and we see many, many applications for Israeli companies who are trying to identify, not only looking on the attack, but predicting from where it can come, and looking forward to be more preventive than prevent the fire rather than take the fire down.
Interesting. We'll talk about Rafael's developments. You're already working on a toolbox that will help cyber intelligence.
Yes, Rafael, as the leading of the high-end technology defense company in Israel, we use all the data science capabilities. It's including the cybernetic world, the cyber defense, the big data capabilities, and of course the artificial intelligence. So it's already embedded in our products, and we use it, of course, especially in the two domains. One is the intelligence systems, and the main of us, it's called the Wisdom Stone. We take intelligence procedures, and with help of, we translate our experience in intelligence procedures to algorithms to enrich the toolbox of the average operator and give him the capabilities of the experts. Yes, it's a hybrid system because it takes the human capabilities and the artificial intelligence to get much more efficient and much more effective system. And another word, of course, it's a cybernetic word, the cyber defense, because we understand that it's not just security, because the malwares maybe is already in your system. Therefore, we use AI as a part of our solution to define the threats and sometimes to prevent the threats even you can't detect it.
Interesting. Would you like to comment also on the Iron Dome? Because a lot of the people who are here have seen live demos, but I don't mean in the exhibition, live demos up in the air, in the skies of Iron Dome in the recent 48 hours. This is also AI.
Yes, of course, because try to think about maybe 20 or more rockets that launched in the same time, and the system has to define where is the most dangerous rocket and to decide where to work. You have to combine between the professionalism of the human and of course with algorithms, because we have to react very quick, we have no time, so we use the rules and algorithms to increase the efficiency, and as we saw unfortunately in the last days, we have to be very efficient to stop all those rockets.
So when we look at AI today and in the future, now we're raising the question Dr. Sassana referred to, the question of trust between humans and the machines, the humans and the digital world. So you may say, we don't trust Facebook, okay, and they're also a monopoly, but how do we trust when we look at lives of people, when we talk about safeguarding lives of people, how do we trust the machine?
So I always start with two maybe quick stories. I know we don't have a ton of time, so
I like stories.
Yeah. So I usually use two examples that we talked about here, and we talked before we got on the stage about machines are really good at gray areas. It's ones and zeros. It's a logic equation. So if you all imagine, most of us probably flew in here that don't live here. They flew in. The last time we were sitting on an airplane, what did it look like? When you sat down, and when you get ready to fly home, look at everybody. They're worried about their seat, getting their bag stowed, whether they're going to get a soft drink or peanuts. They're not worried about the plane getting blown up. They're not worried about hijackers taking it over. That's because of the security of things that we do. But we can't get that wrong, right? The future of what our screening will look like, we would love you to be able to walk at the pace that you go through, some sort of a device to take a look, to see what you have on. You don't have to divest everything. Stick your bag in, leave your cell phone in, keep your shoes on, walk through. The machine will be able to take a look at that and identify that's a Samsung phone, that's good. Do it at pace. Walk in, grab your bag, and you're on the way. That's the end day. That's perfection. That's what we want to get to, but we can't be wrong. You know, and you start to train a machine, there's bias in that. If we broke the room up into 2 groups or 10 groups, we had the same mission we all wanted, there would be bias built into that machine learning, and it would at some point probably come up with some different answers, and that could be life-threatening. We talked about the car. If you're driving your Mercedes in 3 years from now, and the decision comes, you get to a back point, there's a truck crossing the line, you've got a cliff on one side, you've got a big truck, and then you've got a sidewalk where there's a family with 3 kids walking down. Your Mercedes is probably going to protect you and take the family out. Those are the decisions. It's not going to make a gray area. And that's really the challenge that we have with artificial intelligence is it's got to be operational, and it doesn't do the gray area as well as we'd like it right now.
Dr. Susanna, would you like to comment on that? The fact that decision-making, our biological machine, the algorithm that we use as humans is usually survivability. We'll protect ourselves. But once you enter this life and death decision, whether to kill one family, whether to, jump off a cliff, or whether to hit a gas station, how do you want an algorithm to decide this kind of decision?
Well, this is the thing. Every situation is different and needs to be taken into account according to different parameters that are being involved. And I would say that in a way, this is a clash of civilizations. And it's a clash of civilizations and of ideologies on a level that has significance for every individual. Because in China, for example, and I'm taking Kai-Fu Lee's approach that says that the Chinese are very utilitarian and they are concerned about the big picture, about society as a whole, it's very clear what's going to happen if 2 people are involved in a traffic accident. You will have to, the AI will actually have to decide according to each person's social rating, according to how patriotic, how much this person contributes to the culture. Whereas in the United States, or in the West, in Europe, where individualism is more valued and personal liberties are more valuable, it's obvious that everyone is on the same level, everyone is on the same standing. The most important thing really in the end is that you'll know what you're signing onto once you go into the autonomous car, that you'll know the rules and that you'll know that they are not going to change just for you. They apply the same according to the culture in which you live. And if you don't like it, you need to move to another culture.
Thank you. Ami?
I want to look at this from different perspective. In my mind, the trust in everything in life, it's a process. When you see baby crawl and try to walk, you see that it takes time for him to get the confidence that he can really stand up and he can walk. And it's a process. He fall down and then he stand up again, then he learn how to balance himself. Now move to the technology. About 100 or 150 years ago, people were afraid, as I told you, to get in New York City into the elevators by themselves. No, there always need to be the bellboy that will be there to punch the floor that you want to go up to. Why? Because the people were not accustomed to that. The system, the elevator were not that easy to operate. The reliability was still not there. So every element that you can think of need to step by step of building the confidence, failing, make the correction, building the confidence again, failing, building the confidence. And what the most important, that it's need to, what I call to serve the common value as a free society that we have. I give you
not only evolution, what you're saying, it has to communicate with the same values as Dr. Susanna said.
Exactly.
The Chinese environment versus the Western.
Exactly, that whoever want to adopt it, need that the system will serve what we believe on. Let's give you another example of one of the most sophisticated gadgets that were developed about 5-10 years ago, Google Glass. Google Glass were fascinating, unbelievable, but it did not pass the average customer desire, will, I would not say need, but the will, and it did not catch up. Eventually, they have to change direction. So the technology gadget has to go through what I call average person acceptance, our moral and way of living. And if it's breach one of them, you have to correct the direction you go.
Ariel?
Most of the audience, I assume that they are from the law enforcement and intelligence organizations. And I'm not a futurist, but I can, as an intelligence guy, can give you an assessment. In our domain, in the next 10 to 15 years, the artificial intelligence can improve our situation from hard workers to decision makers. But still, the human being will be the decision maker. Even though that enrich our tools, it will be easier to us, we can be much more precise, we can deal with more data and to translate it from data to relevant information, to the relevant knowledge, to the relevant customer in the relevant time. Yes, this is very important. But still it's a hybrid system that involves the artificial intelligence, but at the same time, the profession experts, human experts, for at least the next 10 to 15 years.
Would you like to comment on that, Dr. Zuzana? The humans, as said Ariel, will still be the operating, decision-making, life and death decisions, as Ami just commented.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that decision-making process is going to involve hybrids, centaurs of human beings and AI. But what we need to understand is that when AI limits the number of options that you can consider, because you're a human being, your mind is limited. You can only consider very few scenarios. So we already know, for example, that DARPA is developing hybrid systems that can help generals make decisions in the battlefield.
Do you want
What?
generals to make life and death decisions, robo-generals, AI generals? Do you want them not to have a feeling, to have a son, to have a daughter, to know? I mean, you called it, if I may add you to this conversation, you talked about sixth sense, Ariel.
Yes, I say sixth sense.
The human sixth sense, it's something within you, it's your soul.
Well, in the battlefield, I definitely want robots to make decisions. In the battlefield, every general wants the soldier to be a robot, to do exactly what he is instructed to do, not to shoot without being told to shoot, not to shoot because he's frightened, because he's scared, because he's angry or furious at the opponent. Just to do the job, to get the job done.
So we have to sum up, so I would like your comments on future. I like even one or two sentences about the future. And Dr. Zuzana just said almost everything can be decided by AI. Do you agree?
So for me, the artificial intelligence is two-sided sword, and it's up to humanity, up to us, to decide which side we want to use. We want to use it for the benefits of human being, so we will not have to work so hard. We can make a much more educated decisions, or we want to use it as a destructive, as really going against what we want. And it's our decision. It's no one else's decision.
So one thing I before we get off stage, wanted to mention, so AI on AI. So I think that's the future as well. Wasn't long ago that I had blue screen the whole agency at TSA, responsible for all the airlift over North America. And I wasn't sure what happened. Why did all the computers in my agency go blue for a short period of time? Well, we had introduced a new cyber tool. It saw another cyber tool doing something, and they attack each other. So we figured it out quickly. That's really where I think we're also going to be, is that it's going to be AI on AI, and that's a concern. Can AI run a tram straight back between terminals at an airport? Yes, easily. It's that gray area, that sixth sense that I worry about. And then it's going to get to a point where it's going to be hard to track back to why decisions were made. And that's the transparency piece that we haven't figured out. Technology is out ahead of some of that stuff. And when we have to figure out when things go wrong, what went wrong.
Yes, I think, like you, that we going to involve the human being, the next steps, especially in my domains, in the intelligence, the law enforcement, and the cybernetic world, because we need human capabilities hybrid with AI capabilities, and will enrich us and will give us new tools that we didn't have in the past. But still, the decision-making in the military, in the law enforcement, and the intelligence, still the next maybe 20 years from now, 15 years from now, will be the man will be in the human being will be in the center.
So, in one sentence, to say technology is here. We're on a threshold of a change, but moral decisions and ethical decisions to be decided later on. Thank you very much, this honorable panel, for joining me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.